Switching to Fortnite keyboard and mouse is a decision that a lot of people make. But how can you improve the fastest way possible on keyboard and mouse? I personally have improved a lot on keyboard and mouse in just 10 days, so I'm going to be giving you some of my best tips. Let me know what input you're on in the comments below, and check out my creative maps in the description. Let's get right into it. Switching to keyboard is hard enough on its own, but it's even harder if you don't have the optimal keybind. Optimal keybinds are basically when you don't have more than 2 things binded to each button, which makes it a lot easier when you're building, a lot easier to build muscle memory, and all the good stuff like that. A good example of muscle memory is the builds. Having each build, a wall, stair, roof, or floor on each finger is a great way to optimize your build bind. I personally have 2 mouse buttons on the side of my mouse, and they're used for my wall and my stair. Then I have my roof, which is the cone, on my caps lock button, which I press with my pinky, and I have my floor on C, which I press with my thumb. It's just above the spacebar. This is incredibly optimal and means that I learnt my builds pretty fast. If you guys are interested in my keybinds, I'll put them on the screen right now. You can pause the video if you want at any point. The next topic we're going to talk about is good practice. I did not get this good by just playing normal solos. Although normal solos did help in my improvement, the time between fights and normal solos is so long, and that means if you're just doing normal solos, you're going to improve at a much slower rate. What I did, and I think you guys should do, is play a map like keybinds realistic 1v1s, or a 1v1 map, or a big game mode with lots of actions such as goated. The 1v1 realistic is a great option because you're constantly fighting and you can find a new opponent pretty quickly, and goated is also a great option because there is a lot of players, and the no respawns actually makes it pretty competitive. Although playing a lot of things with lots of rounds is really important, I honestly think, although it's boring, you need to practice the basic mechanics as well. That is why I went in Raiders Peace Control map v3 for multiple hours in the first 10 days, and just practice making optimal peaks, boxing up the opponent, everything like that. I also did a lot of free building, which although isn't the most enjoyable experience, with the right map it can be really great. Try my 0 delay free build map that is in the description, and you can see for yourself. Anyways, although I said not to do just normal solos, you should be playing some sort of real matches, because a big part of keyboard is having the different buttons for the loadout slots, and also reorganizing your loadout, dropping items. All these are things you need to learn to do, and I made the mistake over the first couple of days by just playing creative, so when I got into proper matches it was taking me far too long to rearrange my loadout, and I still hadn't got the hang of pressing my heal slots or crouching, which are all stuff that you do more in normal games rather than creative. We all talk about the building, but the secondary side of just the basic mechanics of the game, like crouching and movement, is just something we don't consider. That's why it is important to mix it up with some normal solos or some normal duos, normal game modes in your gameplay. Now finished addressing the keybinds and the way you should be practicing, I think I should address sensitivity and finally double movement. Sensitivity is very different on keyboard and mouse as it is from controller. On controller it needs to be a really good sensitivity for all scenarios, as you only have that joystick to move around, but on keyboard you can make it as fast or as slow as you want it to by moving the mouse the right speed. This is why I just recommend trying out a basic sense, try out your favorite pro sensitivity, and then just take it from there. If it feels too slow, then raise it. If it feels too fast, then you can lower it. It's all good. General rule of thumb though is the amount of space you have to move your mouse. If you take your mouse and move it from one end to the other of the space, you should do a whole rotation in game. In terms of the double movement, these are the double movement settings I use, and I really like them. They actually get a really good strafe going on when I'm trying to build to the side, and I would fully recommend them. My journey on keyboard and mouse so far has been interesting, and if you want to see the first 7 days of it, then go click this video right here on the screen. It is a banger. Let me remind you, the map codes for my maps are in the description.